part 2 of looking at Matias De Stefano's vlog on Fourth Dimension, written March 5th, 2021, and we will be contrasting it with the Law of One Tarot. So yesterday we ended off right here. So the me says, so what we were talking about, just to recap, is this part here. So what they're saying is, I'll just read it again. This is why it fractalizes, replicating itself, opening a part of it, and they're talking about a cube. This is why it fractalizes, replicating itself, opening a part of its being in the same way that a dividing cell shares genetic material from its chromosomes, creating a new cell. The rectangular prism then is a summary of a vesica Pisces, two circles or spheres that are connected to each other by connecting their peripheries with the nucleus of their neighboring sister. And you can watch the last blog to kind of see what I summed this up as, if you like. Next, it says, the I says, it expands its inner potential to the outside, and thus the outside responds in a constant cycle. It is the same projected being, and in that interaction, the partition of a potential is produced, which is called a portal. So what I think they're talking about here, okay, so he says it expands its inner potential to the outside. So what this really reminds me of, it expands its inner potential. So once you have reached your significant self, the inner potential is expanded and hits up transformation. And this transformation, like I said last time, if you cut through the experience, if you fold this Law of One Tarot in half, transformation sits on top of the potentiator. And what they're saying here is it expands its inner potential to the outside, and thus the outside responds in a constant cycle. It is the same projected being, and in that interaction, the partition of a potential is produced, which we call portal. So when transformation flips over to the potentiator, it becomes the portal with constant rebirth. And you become connected with consciousness more, superconscious, more and more. And transformations happen quicker and quicker. See the hermit here, all dressed up? Death of thought, and then alchemy to that thought begins to happen quicker and quicker, which gives you the great way, the world. And the world on the matrix, spirit complex, flips onto the devil card. So the womb of the matrix, the womb, remember, this is the womb, this is the patterns of the matrix, this is yang, this is yin, once again feels through the love and understanding of the experience, not the lower emotions. The lower emotions here, the unconscious mind, the subconscious mind, when it's in the patterns of the matrix, is infiltrated with the patterns of these lower vibrations. But once you experience with love and understanding, then transformation can occur quicker, and you feel this world over and over. See, it's all sacred geometry. And you know, this hermit here on its turban has a DNA strand. I'm also sometimes curious, I'm changing thought right now. In Catalyst, the body complex for the Catalyst is what we call in modern tarot Wheel of Fortune. I've called it Wheel of Karma. I've called it Wheel of Choice. I wonder, could it be the actual chakras? Because the actual chakras, the wheel of chakra, the chakra wheel, could it be the chakra wheel? Let me tell you why I say that. The reason I say that is because, oh, that's too loud. The reason I say that is because the chakras are the ones that are holding this whole matrix together. The chakras are the ones that respond to the subconscious mind, to these patterns, basically. Okay, so what am I trying to say? So the chakras are the body complex, right? The chakras create meridians. They are the ones that hold on to, like, remember, if this here is the pattern of the matrix of the mind, imagine a spider web. So the weaves, the lines that the spider weaves, imagine that as the patterns, but what we can't see is, like, how is the spider doing this? That's the womb of the matrix. That's the womb. The spirit complex here is the womb of the matrix. The chakras in our physical here, 3D, and 3D, it's all sacred geometry, right? These chakras here are what energetically, we can't see them, so they're kind of like the spirit complex, right? They're kind of like the womb of the matrix that hold in this physical body energetically these patterns together through thought. And this thought is always in the beginning deposited by the subconscious mind. So let's go this way for 1 second. So if this thought, which is pattern, matrix patterns, let's say, of lower vibration, then the chakras are automatically going to be of lower vibration. If this is the wheel of chakras, the chakra wheel. If these are going to be lower vibration, then your experience of the spirit complex is very much so going to be unconscious, and probably more so, this is the moon card of the spirit complex of the experience, and probably more so in these lower emotions. Because remember, in the Law of One Tarot, you don't just have to go this way. The matrix, the potentiator of the mind complex can infiltrate the catalyst of the body complex, which can also infiltrate the experience of the spirit complex, which is the moon card. And the whole point of this is to come to balance with that moon. The moon is so important. The moon is so important. And to balance that moon, we have to fix the water in our body. Why do we have to fix the water in our body? Because the water is what's recording everything. And who's the water? Right here, the subconscious mind. The body complex of the potentiator is water. The spirit complex of the potentiator seems to be light. Maybe I don't know. I mean, what's your opinion? I'm just spewing out things that make sense to me. All right, so it expands its inner potential to the outside, and thus the outside responds in a constant cycle. It is the same projected being, and in that interaction, the partition of a potential is produced, which is called a portal. Every potential is a portal, and potential is created through sacred geometry, just like cells divide, chromosomes divide. They replicate, sorry. Every potential is a portal. Okay. The I Am says, thus, in the center of a rectangular chamber, you find the center of interdimensional portal of the prism. That's the middle of the rectangle. This kind of looks like a rectangle, the hangman. Then the hangman so the significator, which is the hierophant of the mind complex, is in a rectangle. This is kind of looking, the hangman, which is the body complex of the significator, is kind of looking like a rectangle to me too. But it's interesting because the spirit complex of the significator, we see two circles. And we also have a middle point in the sun. And this middle point is directly aligned where they're holding hands, which is directly aligned to the middle of this circle. Okay, so what does that mean then? And the other rectangle that we have is the Great Way. The Great Way of the mind complex. Okay, and so thus in the center of the rectangular chamber, you find the center of or interdimensional portal of the prism. So a prism is when light shines, beautiful light shines many, many, many ways, right? Prism, geometry, a solid geometric figure whose two end faces are similar, equal and parallel, rectilinear figures, and whose sides are parallelograms. So this is a prism. A solid geometrical figure whose two end faces are similar. So two end faces are similar. Okay. Equal and parallel. Rectilinear figures and whose sides are parallelograms. Okay, so it looks like this. Thus, in the center of a rectangular chamber, you find the center of the interdimensional portal or of the prism. So where in the center? I wonder, okay, let's move on. Anyways, the eye says, I understand, and that way they can traverse from one dimension to another. The I am says, well, not to go through, but to become her. Not to go through, but become her. All dimensions exist as foundations of the same being, which in one dimension observes its unity and polarity. Yeah, so all of this is us. This is all you. 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 And this is all you. All these densities, dimensions are you. They are your parallel realities that you can create through thought. And parallel realities are just different thoughts that you are coming to. And what you can do once you come to the significator is constantly create new thought and constant expansion. Maybe. Okay, so I understand. And that way we can traverse from one dimension to another. Well, not to go through, but to become it, her. Become her. Do you become her through the matrix? Why do you say her? That's the next one we're going to look at, digestive. I've been looking at it. So do you become her? The matrix? Oh, maybe you become her, the great way. the World card, because when you flip this, when you have love and understanding, and this is the dimension of time too, fourth density or dimension. I don't know if they're the same thing. I just use them interchangeably. Maybe you're not supposed to. I don't know. But when you flip it, it becomes the World card. The devil, the spirit complex of the matrix, becomes the spirit complex of the Great Way, which is the World card. Well, not to go through, but to become her. All dimensions exist as foundations of the same being, which in one dimension observes its utility and polarity. In another, its plan or figure. In another, its form and spatial object. In another, its temporal process, and so on. That's all. Yeah, he's talking about first, second, third, and fourth density here. So unity and polarity. Unity, polarity. In another, it's plan or figure. So this here is still, I think the potentiator is still plan and figure. So unity, this potentiator gives polarity to the matrix, but it is the plan and figure of. In another, it's form and spatial object. So here, here we have catalyst is form and spatial object. That's 3D, third density. And then we have experience, which is temporal. Okay, that makes sense. So it all, see how it all, one rides off the other? Well, the first two, these guys here, give us polarity. And the unconscious is always thriving. The experience will never be out of love and understanding if you're in the lower mind. When these four in the mind, body, spirit complex are always intermingling, the catalyst, the unconscious mind, will only become more conscious. So this is the conscious mind, right? If love and understanding is applied to this potentiator, these patterns in the matrix. Even your body complex, it needs justice. The chakras, if this is the wheel of chakra, they need to expand. You can't have something contracted for too long, it'll get sick. They need that expansion and contraction, expansion and contraction. They need the movement of the toroidal field to stay healthy. Each aspect of the being is contemplated in one of the attributes of its experience. To see a specific dimension, your entire being must vibrate in tune with that dimension you wish to perceive. Thus, the internal aspect of said dimension will emerge from you, manifesting itself on the outside. This is the key. To see a specific dimension, your entire being must vibrate in tune with that dimension you wish to perceive. Let's talk about this. You want to perceive with the matrix alone, without these patterns, just with the matrix, then it's complete beingness. And complete beingness, complete awareness is impossible. It is yin energy, but it's just that being. Okay? You want to, what was I talking about? To see a specific dimension, your entire being must vibrate in the tune of that. So the vibration, why do I keep doing that? The vibration of the matrix will be complete beingness. It's not impossible. It's hard to get to, but you can get there, obviously. I shouldn't have said that. It's not impossible. I was thinking of like God's beingness when I said that, because the great way over here overlaps on the matrix. That's the only reason I said that. So there you have the matrix. And with the potentiator, it's your vibration must be with growth and movement if you want to vibrate with this potentiator. So growth and movement are key words here. Growth and movement. That's what will give you constant transformation. You want to be the catalyst? Instead of a cause and effect life, like the unconscious does, what you must be is self-awareness. And how do you get there? Through choice. The Fool card goes here. So everybody calls it the Fool card, but Ra calls it the choice. So the choice is divine. It's pure divinity. So if you want to vibrate in this catalyst, then one must take the choice, the Fool card, or the choice card of self-awareness. You want to vibrate with the experience of the mind complex, body complex, and spirit complex, then you have to vibrate with love and understanding. You want to become the significator of the Hierophant, the Hangman, and the Sun card. Then you come from light and wisdom, not knowledge. We talked about that in another vlog. It's wisdom and light. You want to be transforming. You want to vibrate with this transformation here in the mind complex, the Lovers, body complex, the Death card, spirit complex, Judgment. Well, this here, you must vibrate with balance, unity and balance. And that's how we get to the great way. And it flips. The lower mind becomes the higher mind. I'm going to end this soon. That was beautiful. I'm so grateful for this. Thank you, Matias De Stefano. Thank you so much. Okay. So once you experience all of this in the vibrations we just talked about, that is when the external environment, Mother Nature, you're going to become in tune with her. The cosmos, you become in tune with them. Then the external environment begins to show you what is next and what's happening next. Or give you hints of the superconscious. Okay, the I says it would be to continue the idea. Oh my God, I have a spider right here. Okay, you hang out there. It just heard my voice. It's right there. It's a tiny little spider. I'm going to let it be. I'm not going to do anything to it. So the I says it would be to continue with the idea of the sock, to turn a sock inside out to see what is inside. The I Am says, as we have seen from the second dimension, the dimensions are replications of the fractalization of this initial figure. Let's say that again. As we have seen from the second dimension, the dimensions are replications of the fractalization of the initial figure. Right here. Complete awareness, complete beingness. Mind complex, magician, patterns, body complex, justice. Oh my God, justice goes on top of unity and balance. So your justice, no, that's not true. It goes on temperance. Your justice for your body complex, when you flip it and it becomes the higher mind, actually is the alchemist. This is the temperance card, and Ra calls it the alchemist. Because justice of the body complex is going to be when you start becoming aware. What was this? Complete awareness of what you're putting into your mouth. How is it digesting? What is that? whatever it is that you're eating, how is it helping your cells? How is it working in your body for consciousness? How are your organs utilizing the glucose, the energy from what you're putting into your body? This is the alchemist. And turning it into the great way for the mind complex. Stem cells and other beautiful things going on, like your CSF, your cerebral spinal fluid, all of that. Clean blood. The I Am says, as we have seen from the second dimension, the dimensions are replications of the fractalization of the initial figure. So fractalization of the initial figure, fractalization of the magician of the mind, fractalization of the body complex, the justice, and fractalization of the womb of the matrix, the devil card, the womb of the matrix, the devil card. Fractalization goes all through like this. So we got fractalizes this way. And the spirit complex fractalizes. So see how that's all, this is all one. It's all from here. Okay. So as we have seen from the second dimension, the dimensions are replications of the fractalization of this initial figure. If in the second you get the figure of a square, in the third you will get a cube, and in the fourth you will see a tesseract. Hold on, so if in the second it's a square, maybe that's why we don't see what she's sitting on. Maybe we don't see this box that she's sitting on because she's actually projecting, the subconscious mind is creating these patterns for the matrix. Because remember, the matrix of the mind can do nothing alone. Nothing. This yang energy alone, awareness, has nothing. It needs growth and movement through her, the potentiator, the high priestess. And she is sitting on this box. This box is unseen. But her projections are creating the patterns of the matrix, the black and the white, the shadows and the light, but she's sitting on this box. So maybe it is the square. No, is it square? If in the second you get the figure of a square, but we don't see it, but we see it in the first, in the Law of One Tarot, then in the third you get it as a cube, and then the fourth is a tesseract. So cube, fine, and the third eye is in the cube, right? It's shaded, and this is a tesseract. Okay. Tesseract. What's a tesseract? In 1888, the writer and mathematician Charles Hinton wrote about the hypercube as a way to understand the simple operation of the fourth dimension. He called it 4 rays, referring to the edges that connect the external cube with the internal cube. Okay. In Greek, 4 rays is said tesseres ektines, which composes the unique term tesseractes, that gives us tesseract. It is in the 4D version of the cube, which would be the 3D version of the 2D version. Oh, so the 4D contains all, the 3D and the 2D. Oh, that's why referring here. So that 4D cube is called the 4 rays, referring to the edges that connect to the external cube with the internal. So the outside and the inside is connected through the 4D, because the 4D is the observer. Here, the 4D is the one that observes all of this And I think what they're saying is it observes all of it through sacred geometry of the tesseract. So this is the tesseract. This is a cube. This is a tesseract. Tesseract? I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. And what it contains is information of these guys as well. Okay. It is the 4D version of the cube, which would be the 3D version of the 2D version, the unconscious mind and the subconscious mind 2D and the unconscious mind 3D. Each 2D figure will create, the subconscious will create a 3D unconscious version that will have its 4D consciousness, although they are not called tesseracts, since they will have more or less rays, edges. This concept coined the global idea of the fourth dimension. So what he's saying, each 2D figure will create a 3D version that will have a 4D version. Yeah, it's kind of like what we talked about, man. It is a 4D version of the cube, which would be the 3D version and 2D version. Each 2D figure will create a 3D. She creates the 3D. It is the 4D version of the cube, which would have a 3D version of the 2D version. Oh, it goes back and forth. Each 2D figure, so the potentiator, will create a 3D version, the unconscious, the catalyst, the cause and effect, that will have its 4D version. Wow. This is how they all work together. Although they are called, okay. In other words, the eye says, in other words, the fourth would be a replica of 3D, either inward or outward, connected by its edges. Okay, let's end it here. This is beautiful stuff, man. I hope you guys are having as much fun as I am and enjoying this. I'm learning a lot. And, you know, it's since I've been reading this with everybody, I feel the vibration and energy of those people that are reading it too, because I really do feel like my consciousness is expanding, and I feel really good about it. And I hope you guys do too. I love you so much. We'll continue this tomorrow. Bye.